So it's February 18th, I believe, and this is a look in at Cinderella. Harvested probably about 4 weeks ago. I didn't take all of the castings out, and then I experimented with some unusual bedding. I have dryer lint as well as the cotton wool that you pull out of the top of a vitamin bottle, and some human and some pet hair in here. And so I think this is dryer lint, and there are worms. This is dryer lint is dry. I didn't moisten it down. I'm just letting the moisture wick in from the rest of the bedding, and there you see the worms on the outside of it. The tiny worms tend to get into that. Let me see if I can find, sorry, the bin keeps shifting here, some of the top to the vitamin bottles. I have a couple of those in here, a couple more to go in. That's something, oh, that's just cardboard. This is more dryer lint here. This has got a big worm in it. Big worm sticking out the end. Several of them actually. So that's dryer lint. We obviously, well, it's either dryer lint or hair. Now that I look at it, this looks, this is a haircut. This is a haircut hair. Yep, that's a haircut. Lots of bacteria in that. Oh, and here's another clump of it. So I use alternate bedding in Cinderella, things that I try to put things in here that normally would go into a garbage and take up space in a garbage can. And you see she gets most of my avocado pits, because those, obviously I can't blend them and freeze. You know, I could freeze them, but I can't blend them. Is that cotton from a vitamin bottle? That could be cotton from a vitamin bottle right there. Yep. That's not dryer lint. Don't see any worms in that bit specifically. Nope. Maybe that was a cocoon, actually, now that I look at it. Here's some more human hair. Worms are into it. Again, I don't moisten this. I just put it in the bin, you know, and the worms get into it in their good time. Oh, this is this cotton from a vitamin bottle. Yes, this is cotton from a vitamin bottle. Now this, one would assume, would be sterile because it is, you know, it's at the top of a supplement bottle. But you see, when it gets the castings on it, I mean, it's like no other, different than no other piece of carbon source. The worms get into it. It's finely divided up, and I think they like that. You know, this one is, you know, it's that long stringy thing that you pull out of the top of a vitamin bottle, but it's not going to be long for this world. The worms enjoy it, and even though it's sterile going in, it quickly takes up the microbiome of the rest of the worms. Castings in here. Now, like I said, I left about a third of the castings intact in this bin because it's irregular. There's, you know, like I said, there's, you know, pits from our cherry eating of last summer. I'm going to take up, who was it? Noel Davis, I think, from World Composting, was it? No, it was Patrick from Learning by Doing, vermicomposting, Learning by Doing, who took a pair of pliers to the pits and broke them up to get them to finally compost, because those pits, those cherry pits, have been in here since cherry season, and it's now February, so they need to be cracked open, and then the worms will get into them. These avocados, I think I'm not going to do anything with those. I think the worms are going to do a fine job without me. This one, I think, is already soft, but I don't want to squeeze it in case there are baby worms on it. But there's still remnants of that Starbucks cup in here. Lots more human hair. We obviously did haircuts recently. That's more cotton from another vitamin bottle. And the worms just love it. So challenge you to, what are you throwing away that you can put in a worm bin that the worms might get into? And certainly, you know, if this wasn't cotton, you know, the worms wouldn't get into it, or they would eat whatever bacteria cling to those little fibers, but leave all the fibers behind. And I've done this for, you know, several months, and they definitely eat them. Those two have only been added relatively recently. So this is what Cinderella does for me, is and here in this corner, or on this whole side rather, I am collecting the stems from bouquets that I have in my kitchen and dining room. So these are the stems of the plants that, you know, eventually the flowers drop off. So not only the stems, but also the flowers end up in here. Here's an amaryllis that just finished blooming for us, and so we put the spent flower, as well as the whole elongated stem. That crinkling that you hear, yes, that does sound like plastic. Do you know what this was? This was a Starbucks cup. And this is what's left of it. Just a tiny little bit that is giving away its origin. There's still a little bit of the white paper. So I'm gonna leave this in here because I'm have a worm group that we meet online, and I've been showing them the progress of this Starbucks cup. I don't know what happened to the rest of the plastic. I sift my castings, so I assume it's being sifted out. But maybe it's compostable. If you know, let me know, because it does seem to be, you know, in shreds, not a solid piece. It's a big piece, but it's not as big as the venti cup that it came from originally. So, you know, there, if I stretch it out, it's a portion of a cup. So it'd be interesting to know whether, like some of those compostable bags, whether this type of plastic eventually does compost down from a Starbucks cup. Anyway, if you know, let me know. That is Cinderella, doing well, getting another feeding today to try to get her to work through some of these unusual bedding sources. And I think she's looking great. I think it won't be too long before I'll sift out some more castings. Take care, everyone.